Cassius slumped down behind the thick curtains of his balcony, his chest thumping rapidly. Oh, someone else pointed out that apparently in the opening, scene, the peacock there has different colored pupils, as opposed to Prince Cassius here, who has the same colored pupils. So, different bird. Different bird. He knows that people would be seeking his attention after the demon attack, but he had hoped Sir Grank would keep most of them at bay. The thought of having to actually speak to someone from the outside, Cassius shivered. And not to mention, that was the Creator's chosen, wasn't it? She was the reservoir that Father had spoken of. He was fairly certain he was not supposed to interact with her at all. Cassius swallowed against the anxious pounding of his chest. He wished Father was here. No one ever taught him how to do anything. He wasn't ready to deal with any of this on his own. Holy shit! Oh, this is a sight to see. There you are! Hey, your highliness. I know you're busy hiding in your bedroom, but I need to talk to you about something. Who are you? I don't remember his fucking voice. Cassius fell backwards, his tail feathers spilling out in a cascade behind him. You shouldn't be in here. This is a royal bedchamber. Oh, perfect. I've done excellent work in a lot of bedchambers. Just need a moment of your time, won't be a bother at all. My issues are a simple matter of life or death. Or a simple matter of life or death. That doesn't make it any less stressful. Please leave. There are officials who can help you with your grievances. No. We need the help of the prince himself. The Creator's chosen is counting on you to save the day and all that good jazz. Jazz shouldn't exist in this universe. Big shame there. Jazz is great and so are the people that made it, but damn, doesn't make sense to have that in the lingo here. You're not gonna say no to divine providence, are you? If the Creator's chosen is relying on my help of all people, then the world may well and truly be doomed. She probably wouldn't like me very much. I'd hate to disappoint her. The hyena blinked before glancing over his shoulder over the edge of the balcony with a wistful smirk. As the prime expert of disappointing the chosen one, I can safely say that you're fine. Artemi would love you. You're so, he gestured vaguely, messy and uptight and a nervous wreck. You two would get along like two anxious peas in a pod. Cassius spluttered, his feathers puffing out indignantly. That's hardly flattering to either of us. The hyena shrugged. I'm not a flattering kind of guy. Just being real with you. What, do you think the chosen one is some big scary warrior? The first time I met her, she was having a panic attack on the floor of a jail cell. He snorted. The hyena leaned over the balcony railing, quickly drinking in the side of the city below. She was actually supposed to deliver that fancy crown to you that day. Obviously that didn't work out, and things had kind of gone downhill from there. Artie's been beating herself up ever since. Cassius stiffened, his eyes flicking toward the drawer where the obsidian crown lay hidden. He hesitantly stepped forward and joined the short man on the balcony. His gaze trailed downward, where the tiny figures of Artemi Gautier and her friends stood at the castle gates. In the distance, Artemi noticed they're staring and frantically fumbling, a strange mix between a salute and a bow. She does seem the nervous sort, doesn't she? Still, I can't imagine she'd be happy to see me in this state. What, like you haven't left your bed in weeks? Happens to the best of us, she wouldn't judge. Even if she does, what's she gonna do about it? You're the goddamn Prince of Axia. Cassius shot the hyena with a sheepish look. Well, one does prefer to be in the good graces of the divine savior of the world. I regret to inform you that your great holy savior is a massive doofus. I mean, just look at her. What are you afraid of? Artemi jumped with a start and elbowed Sid nervously. Sir Sid, look! It's His Highness! Oh, how should we conduct ourselves? I have never met with royalty before. You're asking me? I'm just a regular old commoner. The only time I've ever seen the king and queen were during big parades. That's still more than I ever have. What is the customary method for greeting them? Is there anything special we must do? Sid scratched his head and shrugged. I don't know. Just kind of bow and wave. You know, just show respect and all that. Show respect? Why, yes, of course. How silly of me. What? I saw this somewhere on, I think it was Blue Sky. I thought it was just like, I don't remember what the context was, but I fucking forgot about it until now. Okay. Before Sid could utter another word. Oh, holy shit. Before Sid could utter another word, Artemi promptly stepped forward and thrusted her middle finger up in the air in the prince's direction. Oh, man. Artemi, what are you doing? Is something wrong? This is a sign of great respect, is it not? You explained it as such the other day. I'm glad I finally found the opportunity to use it. Sid stood aghast as Artemi smiled brightly, her tail wagging furiously as she waved her middle finger high in the air in hopes of catching the prince's attention. Should he correct her? But if she found out right after flipping off the royal prince, she'd absolutely kill him. Maybe you should just start running for the hills and begin a life of solitude and isolation instead? She'll learn the truth from somebody eventually. Called her. Sid's heart jumped into his throat as he spotted Lady Osmia approaching them with a raised brow. Lady Osmia, look! It seems Cole succeeded in grabbing His Highness's attention. Worry not, I've done my utmost to show the prince the respect he deserves. I don't think he's gonna get a disagreement out of Lady Osmia. Bold. I'm impressed with your honesty, Gautier. You didn't seem the type. Behind her, Calder watched the whole exchange with a confused frown. The noble glanced at Sid inquisitively. Is she not aware? Shush! Sid grabbed the hyena by the shoulders and shook his head furiously. Calder stared at the storm of desperation and panic on his face before slowly nodding. Huh. Meanwhile, Prince Cassius was having an episode of his own as he let out a horrified gasp and clutched his chest. So Oh man, you know, I was all worried that my meds would make me less, like, feel less because you know, being neurodivergent, you take meds. Sometimes your meds, I have bipolar depression. Sometimes your meds just level your entire emotional highs and lows, just keep you in the middle. You don't experience anything anymore. I've had meds like that and they fucking suck. These ones just take out the bottom so you don't go down anymore. Those are the ones I like. I'm glad I'm on those ones, cause I look at this picture and I enjoy things. Cause look at this. The creator's chosen just flipped me off. And then Cole's just so happy. We're just, this is a good day. I knew she'd hate me on sight, but I never imagined to this degree. Oh, forgot about that. This actually means she likes you, funnily enough. Do not lie to me. I may be inexperienced, but I was not born yesterday. Nah, I'm being serious, surprisingly. You should flip her right back. She'll get a real kick out of it. Absolutely not. Good princes do not flip off his subjects. Oh my god, I gotta take a second. I'm gonna have a fucking stroke. This is, oh my fucking god. Cassius ducked behind the balcony, his back sliding down the wall as he rasped through his pounding heartbeat. Then again, I am not much of a good prince. Even the Creator's chosen saw right through me. I'm pretty sure she thinks you're a pretty cool dude. She'd probably tell you that herself if you actually went up and talked to her. Cassius let out an incredulous wheeze. You are a terrible liar, sir. I will not be throwing myself into a meeting with someone who clearly despises me. Take your business elsewhere. Whatever you need, I am certain my officials will serve you better than a disaster like me. Dude, have you seen the bureaucracy in your city? It takes at least 3 business years before anything to get done. For anything to get done. I called her, Cass, so many C names. Cassius's shoulders slumped. I have not seen much of the city at all. Yesterday was the first time conducting duties outside the royal palace walls. And you saw how well that went. Whatever it is you're looking for, I'm certain you will find far greater success with someone else. A strange look flickered across the rude hyena's face. Cassius shuffled uncomfortably under his gaze. After a moment, the short hyena let out a sigh and plopped down on the floor to sit next to him. Hey, you doing okay? What do you mean? Hyena grinned sheepishly and vaguely gestured to all of them. I mean, your mom and pops just died. You got a big city waiting on you to take the reins, and then a demon blew up one of your streets yesterday, so folks are probably hassling you for an answer. That's a lot to deal with within just a few weeks. So, are you alright? Cassius stared at the other man, suddenly feeling a little lost. I'm not sure. Like you said, it's been a lot. Cassius let out a sigh and stared up at the ceiling. Mother's health had been declining for a long time, so it was expected. Her father was beside himself with grief. And then they were gone. Both of them. It was expected, but now I'm on my own. Sir Crank has visited often to check on me, but Cassius glanced down at the hyena strangely. No one else has asked me how I was doing. I'm not sure how to answer. Hyena's face brightened. Oh, are you close to the hot bear knight? He seems like a good guy. If you need to vent, he'll probably let you talk his ear off too. Memories of this morning flashed in his mind, and a pang of guilt sliced through his chest. Sir Grank and I have a strange working relationship. I think it's best that we speak to each other as little as possible. Yeesh, so you've got no one? You're the prince. It shouldn't be this hard to find someone to shoot the shit with. Many people have sought my attention, armed with honeyed words and ulterior motives. Not unlike you. Hyena laughed and held up his hands. Guilty as charged. I still need your help with something, but you'd have to be pretty heartless to see a guy breaking down on his bedroom floor and not feel for him a little. Cassius smiled slightly. As rude as this hyena has been, barging into his room and making demands, at least he was easy to talk to. Tell me, what is your name? Oh, I'm Cole, a quality bone breaker if you're gonna be fancy about it. Nice to meet you, your princeliness. Cole hopped to his feet and bowed dramatically. Cassius stifled a laugh. Formal bowing did not look natural on his short, loinclothed man. I'm Cassius Delirium. It's pleasant meeting you too. I like your nickname. Oh, Cole? Yeah. Colony's a bit of a mouthful. Love my papa, but good names aren't exactly a strong suit. Diana scowled and quietly mumbled a bone breaker under his breath. It's nice. I hardly hear my own name these days. It's mostly my lord this or your highness that. And everyone is usually so uptight and business-minded. You hardly hold a conversation with anyone. Cole smirked. What, you want a nickname too? I'm trying to imagine a city official walking up to the throne room and going, Yo, Cass, I need to sign some papers. I need you to sign some papers. Cassius felt a small smile tug on his lips. It's honestly preferable. At least I'd know they still see a person under all this royal plumage. You know you're in charge now, right? You can literally go up to your lawmakers and go, Yo, I want everyone to call me Cass now. Anyone who does otherwise shall be sentenced to 50 hours of latrine cleaning duty. Cassius shook his head. I don't like Cass. Perhaps people would probably mistake me for that famous buff accordion player from overseas. What the fuck? Well, that's not a bad thing. Isn't he, like, super hot? I mean, I'd prefer a more casual public image, but maybe not that casual. Cole shrugged. Your loss. I think the people would dig a hot prince. What about Cassie? Cassie. He laughed softly. Father would find that name atrocious. There's a brief silence as the unspoken thought hung in the air. Father isn't here right now. The thought struck Cassius out of his stupor. What was he doing? Sitting on the floor, casually chatting with the strange man who just barged into his room? Father would be beside himself. Cassius sucked in a deep breath and stood up, dusting off his long tailcoat. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me. But surely it was better spent achieving whatever work here need to be done. Hey, don't sell yourself short. You're decently fun to talk to. Cassius smiled, his face slightly heated. I thought you said you weren't the flattering type. Dude, if you consider this flattery, we're going to have to work on raising that bar a little. Well, in any case, what was it that you needed? You mentioned a matter of life or death earlier. I can make no promises, but I suppose I can hear you out. It's the least I can do. Cole shot him a grateful look. Thanks, man. Cassius felt a strange warmth bubble inside himself. Nobody had shown him gratitude like this before. The hyena scratched his head awkwardly as he struggled to find his words. Where do I even start? See, I have this friend. She's kind of like you in a way. She spent her whole life cooped up in the church district until a few days ago when she got her first mission into the outside world. And this would be the greatest chosen, yes? Cole nodded grimly. Yeah, you probably heard how it went. She managed to recover that fancy crown of yours, but she lost all the rubies. Her mom, the bishop, wasn't very happy about it. But see here, the real issue, well, we didn't put it together until yesterday, but essentially, the bishop threatened to have Artemi killed if she didn't find the missing rubies. That hardly seems fair, right? Like, I know they're really fancy bits of jewelry, but they're not really worth killing your daughter over, right? Cassius felt his stomach drop, his mind wandering. They're certainly important pieces of jewelry, to say the least. Katrina Gautier would know the value. She was a close colleague of my father's. But to threaten to kill the creators chosen, that is not in line with... He quickly bit his tongue. Thankfully, the hyena did not seem to understand much of his ramblings and simply stared blankly. At least he hoped so. Cassius cleared his throat loudly. Anyway, I would love to help you, but the royal family is not supposed to interfere with the church's affairs. What? Can't you at least talk to her? You're the prince! You could easily just say, yo, murdering your daughter is bad, and save my friend's life. It's not that simple. Katrina Gautier is, well, terrifying. As both a person and as a negotiator. I could hardly finish my speech at the tournament yesterday, yet you expect me to speak with the Grand Bishop herself? Cole stepped close, desperation rising in his voice. Look, man, I know it's hard, but my friend's life is on the line. And you don't need to talk if you don't want to. Just send her a letter or something. Please, I'm begging you. There was more to this than you believe. Only my father had the authority. If there is anyone else I could turn to, I would. But your dad's not here right now, and you're the only one who can help me. That's not true. Father is still... This time, his slip-up could not go unnoticed. What? Panic filled his chest as Cassius covered his beak with his hand. No, I've said too much. You've greatly overstayed your welcome, but please leave. No, you can't just say that. And Cole let out a frustrated growl. At least help me save my friend. How about a deal? If you send a letter to the bishop, I'll keep my mouth shut. I have no idea what you're implying, but you are severely incorrect. Leave now, or I will call the guards. Please, I don't care what weird plots you people have going on. Just help me keep my friend safe. I am begging you. In his desperation, Cole reached out and grabbed his hand to prevent him from escaping. In the moment, the world suddenly slowed. Cassius felt a spark of magic flood through the contact of their skin, a dreadfully familiar spark like that of two same-faced magnets shoving each other aside. Cole immediately recoiled and retracted his hand, confusion swimming across his face. What the hell was that? Cassius could barely hear him, clutching his own palm in dawning horror. You're the other one. The one that was stolen. What the hell are you talking about? This is all a trick, isn't it? Some sort of plot against my father? Did Enchanter Agatha put you up to this? So down, dude. I have no idea what you're babbling about. Your lies can't fool me. You must. There is no other explanation. I have to get out of here. What father will be furious. Before Cole can have time to retort, a wave of arcane smoke enveloped Cassius as he misty-stepped away. Oh, you are not getting away from me that easily. Swoop. Huff, huff. No, please leave me alone. I'm not going anywhere until I know for a fact Artemi is safe. Listen, I don't care what the fuck? Fuck you! I don't care whatever's going on. I just need, and then spell again. Oh, come on! Cassius stepped through the city as fast as his magic could carry him, flickering in and out of existence in flashes of smoke as he sailed across Axia. But no matter how far he ran, he could not shake Cole from his tail. Aina seemed to have extremely sharp arcane senses, locking onto his location and misty stepping after him without missing a beat. Exhaustion was slowly taking root as Cassius poofed into in the middle of the town plaza, hunching over his knees and gasping for breath. I don't think I've ever ran this much in my life. Huh? Cassie, please just listen for a second. I know there is a lot going on and I probably don't understand, but at the end of the day, my friend's life is in danger and, well, it's partially my fault. Cassius couldn't hear him through the pounding of blood against his head. He needed to shake him and escape somehow. It didn't matter how, and I know you're scared, but if you send just one little letter, it would mean the world to me. Cassius' breath caught in his throat, and as the tiniest pang of guilt gripped his chest. The hyena sounded so desperate. He shook his head furiously. No. Father's instructions came before all else, and he could not fail him more than he already had. Cassius stood up straight and closed his eyes. Magic welled up deep inside him, slowly streaming through his entire body. Uh-oh. Cole seemed to sense it immediately and took a nervous step back. Wait, what are you doing? Time stop. What the... Cole stumbled on his feet. His stomach had dropped for a split second, and as though he had fallen from a great height. He glanced around frantically, but the prince was nowhere to be found. Did you just cast a 9th level spell to get out of a conversation? Cole's eyes flashed a turquoise glow as he cast another ghostly gaze under his breath, but no matter where he looked, he could not find a hint of Cassius anywhere. Cole's shoulders fell as he stood silently in the street. Dread pulled inside him and gnawed painfully at his very bones. The prince was gone. His best hope of saving Artemi from his own mistakes was gone with him. It should have taken only a few moments for Cole to misty step back to the castle entrance. He was struck with the thought of looking Artemi in the eyes and decided he could probably drag his feet a tiny bit. They were probably imagining Cole engaging in the harrowing chase across the city and were waiting for his return with the good news. Felt like the only thing he could deliver these days was disappointment. Cole probably would have dawdled a little longer if the image of Sid's knowing look didn't flicker across his mind like an annoying gnat. It made his stomach gnaw painfully inside until he couldn't ignore it. With a sigh and at least 20 wasted minutes of stewing in his own misery, Cole finally stepped before Castle Delirium's gates in a puff of smoke. He found everyone waiting for him near the entrance. Sid was currently on the ground in a fetal position while Artemi was chatting enthusiastically with Maeve about the versatility of hand gestures. Calder just looked confused about the social customs of knights and kept his mouth shut. Sid's ears twitched as Cole approached, but he did not lift his head from where it lay buried in his hands. Hey man, what'd I miss? I fucked up. Huh? Was it that bad? Boss, I fucked up hard. Artie thinks the flipping people off is like a casual salute or something. Half the guards in the courtyard think the creator's chosen is a massive dick. And she flipped off the goddamn Prince of Axia. What do I do? Well, I remember a wise man telling me people deserve to know the truth and all that good shit. Don't use my words against me. Huh. Not so easy when you're on the receiving end, huh? If it makes you feel any better, I don't think the prince is calling for Artie's head right now. He's too busy fleeing to the other end of the city. Too bad Artie's gonna smite me into the dust if she ever finds out. Do you have any bright ideas on how I can, gently break the news to her? You're asking me? Dude, I can barely deal with my own fuck-ups. If she starts coming for us, she could probably just throw me to the wolves. Out of the two of us, I deserve the bigger thrashing. Sid finally lifted his head with a frown. Don't say it like that. You know it's true. Artemi suddenly spotted him and waved, cheerfully thrusting her middle finger in his direction. Man, she won't even call him sir. She wouldn't give him a sign of great respect. For a split second, Cole thought that Knight had finally caught on to him and made her feelings known. His heart jumped into his throat before he got a hold of himself. Of course not, Artemi hasn't found out yet, and whose fault is that? Shaking himself out of his stupor, Cole forced a smirk and responded with a finger flip of his own. Artemi grinned brightly like a child who successfully retold a well-received joke. Dude, don't encourage her! I don't know, man. Maybe if we keep this up, we can start a new trend. A crude blessing from the chosen one or some shit like that. I can't see a world where that possible goes well. Cole, I see you returned from your negotiations without being forcibly removed for the castle guards somehow. Might we respect some modicum of success? The amusement in his chest deflated as Cole scratched his head awkwardly, unable to meet her gaze. Well, you know me. I always deliver. It's usually disappointment, but boy, do I deliver. Is this due to your own negotiations, or from our good chosen's bold display? Artemi blinked. Oh, did I accidentally slip a faux pas during our exchange? My deepest apologies. I am still getting accustomed to all these strange gestures. No, I admire your honesty, Gautier. I've wanted to see someone speak plainly to the royal family for years. Sid glanced over the cliffside and looked like he was considering throwing himself off the edge. In any case, barging straight into the prince's room was a risky move and, dare I say, unwise. Did your efforts bear any fruit? Kinda. He just came across as a nervous guy who was not at all ready to be a prince. I played the nice guy card and got him to loosen up a bit. Cole scratched his chin thoughtfully. When I poked him about the details of Artemi's mission, he let slip something interesting. He said that the bishop was a close colleague to the king and, Cole glanced at Artemi with a worried frown. Well, it sounded like your mom knows about whatever weird shit is happening involving these rubies. What? Are you accusing Her Excellency of being involved in some great conspiracy? That is nonsense. My mother may not be a gentle soul, but she is a good and pious woman. Cole, surely you must have misheard. Cole shrugged. I'm just telling you what he said. Prince Cassius kind of babbles a lot when he's nervous, so it's hard to be sure. It gets worse, too. I asked him about his father, and, Cole hesitated and bit his lip. For a split second, Cassius almost sounded like he thought his dad was still alive. Everyone stared at him, dumbfounded. That's impossible. The king and queen had a public open casket funeral several weeks ago. Half the city saw it with their own eyes. They're most certainly dead. Yeah, but after that little slip, Cassius started freaking out and ran like his life depended on it. And when I chased him, he fucking cast Time Stop just to get away from me. That's pretty damn suspicious, all things considered. Maeve's eyes narrowed. The fact that you are able to share this information means that it is not protected by the hypothetical anti-mimetic spell. These are all just suspicions and theories that you've interpreted from his words, yes? He didn't come out and say King Roderick is still alive. Obviously not. And such suspicions can still be shared, as dubious as they are. Though I'm having a hard time imagining why the king would want to fake his own death. Maeve exhaled sharply, her brows furrowed in frustration. So we are left with more conjecture and unanswered questions, not the most fruitful results. She shot Cole a sharp, measuring look. And you did not even coax an official statement from the prince about recent events. That would have been useful at the very least. When you barged into the royal palace alone, I hoped you would have had a more coherent plan than making the prince babble nonsensically, then scaring the wits out of him. Hey, I know you're pissed that you didn't get to interrogate him yourself, but I did the best with what I had. You made a reckless move without consulting anyone else, and for what? What did you two even talk about? Well, Maeve's eyes narrowed, dripping with suspicion. Okay. I know part of her fucking thing is being like, well, if I can turn the party against Cole, then she can get their their loyalty for her. But like, it's being really fucking like over the top, unnecessary. Like, it's going really hard on the fuck Cole train. Not Coltrane the musician, but wordplay. I would find it most useful if you walked us step by step through how your conversation went. Perhaps we will find insights you could not. Cole crossed his arms and glared right back. Why do I feel like I'm the one being interrogated now? Because your integrity is being called into question, to which you should ideally provide answers instead of indignation. Gautier assured me that you are a trustworthy leader of this merry little band, but I have yet to witness anything of the sort. Artemi shuffled in her boots as she glanced between the two of them. Her gaze was filled with an uncomfortable amount of certainty, as though she was waiting for him to quickly put her doubts to rest. The unwavering faith in those eyes made Cole's inside squirm. Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? Our main plan was to barge into the 14th laboratory to dig up dirt on the royal family. This meeting with the prince wouldn't have uncovered any info protected by the anti-mimetic spell anyway. If it doesn't matter, then you should have no problem providing us with the details. Cole tugged at his hair and let out a frustrated sigh. Fine. You want to know what we talked about? I was trying to get Cassius to speak with the bishop. Artemi blinked in surprise. To Her Excellency? Whatever for? To convince her to not kill you. What else? Artemi, everyone's gazes snapped to Artemi. Excuse me? The Grand Bishop has threatened to kill the Creator's Chosen. The church has quite a reputation, but to do that to your own daughter... Artemi suddenly looked quite small. How did you find out? Yesterday, you told Sid about how your mom threatened to revoke your title. That's a bit hard to do, considering the whole Creator's Chosen thing is passed down after you die. It doesn't take much to put two and two together. It's not unprecedented. I've read that the church has discreetly put down several chosen throughout history when they become unruly or a danger to the public. Cole waved his hands in frustration. Well, tough shit. Artemi doesn't fit any of those categories, does she? I don't think lost a few pieces of jewelry begs a death sentence, so when I got the prince's attention, I tried to get him to remind Artie's mom that murder is generally frowned upon. My bad if I didn't prioritize our investigation over this. Artemi stared at him quietly, a storm of emotion writhing behind her eyes. The world needs a competent chosen. If I prove to be unworthy, don't care! Get worthy! I never asked for your help. You shouldn't have to ask! Artemi looked taken aback before a tender smile settled across her face. Her smile was filled with undeserved gratitude for the guy who got her into this mess to begin with. Cole felt like it was going to be sick. I suppose I owe you my thanks. Frustration broiled inside Cole's chest. Why? I fucked up again. The prince made no promise to help, and we barely got any information out of him. Regardless of the results, I appreciate your efforts, Cole. She turned and nodded towards Maeve. I pray this is enough to assuage your suspicions? The noble nodded slowly. It does, somewhat. My apologies, Colliday. It seems I have misjudged you. But you didn't, Cole wanted to scream. I fucking stole one of the rubies and got her deeper into this mess. Why aren't you angry? The Cole answer was obvious, of course. It was because they don't know the whole story. The story that he should have told them days ago. But instead, he kept his mouth shut and silently watched as Artemi led Maeve and called her down the road toward the Magistracy District. Sid shot him a look of concern, but Cole couldn't meet his gaze. He could only think of how he promised to come clean to Artemi, how he was supposed to fix her death sentence, and he was unable to do either. Cole stood stiffly as Sid placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. You doing okay, boss? What does it look like? You could see a soft smile grow on Sid's face and resist the urge to smack him. It looks like you were trying to help people as... What? You're trying to help people as yourself. What? It looks like you were trying to help people as yourself for once. No impersonating, no dancing around. Okay. No dancing around people with your intentions. Just honest help. Okay. I'm proud of you, boss. Fat lot of good that's been. Fucking ruin everything that I touch, and you're all standing and treating me like I'm some sort of... Cole hissed and covered his face with his hands. Sorry. It came out wrong. He sighed and waved his hands dismissively. Go ahead with the others. I need a moment. The badger looked like he wanted to argue, but simply gave his shoulder a warm squeeze before leaving. Cole sat alone at the castle gates, disgust writhing underneath his own skin. Did not get any better when he heard familiar footsteps approaching behind him. What do you want, old man? Grank let out a soft chuckle. Oh, nothing in particular. I simply watched you defend my favorite pupil with the wrath of a true friend. And I'm here to offer you my thanks. I don't want your fucking thanks. He glanced up at the Knight Commander. Please tell me the bishop isn't really going to kill her. I could, but I would be lying. Nor would this be the first time that Katrina Gautier made attempts on her daughter's life. What? The bear shook his head quietly. I cannot speak on the details, but just like all the previous attempts, she will have to go through me first. An amused smile tugged at the edge of his lips. And it appears she will have to go through you as well. For that, I am thankful. Cole pulled at his hair in frustration. This whole thing sucks. You've worked closely with the royal family and the church, right? Can't you tell us what's really going on? Well, go. There it is. That's it. That's the spell. That's the spell, the mimetic spell they're talking about. The Knight Commander opened his mouth to speak, but his jaws suddenly snapped shut. Cole glanced up curiously. For a moment, the old bear's face was at war with itself before it smoothed into an uncannily neutral expression. I am afraid I have nothing to share. You okay, man? I am quite fine. Cole took a step back, thoroughly unsettled. The bear's eyes followed him, but did not quite see him. He bit his lip. Noodle had mentioned sensing some sort of suggestion spell on him the first time they met, right? Didn't he? Cole blinked and whispered quietly under his breath as magic pooled behind his eyes. Ghostly gaze. Cole was thankful his arcane senses had grown sharper over the last few days. His eyes carefully traced over the Knight Commander's body. Most of what he saw was perfectly expected. Grank was a strong paladin, radiating with subtle waves of celestial magic, and in between those waves were traces of that persuasive magic that Noodle mentioned. Traces that should have long faded by now, but they clung to him like tiny threads wound tightly around every limb and tendril. Cole's eyes widened. Nice tattoos. Grank's jaws opened and then immediately snapped shut once more. But this time, beneath the stiffness, there was an amused twinkle in his eye. I have no tattoos. Of course. Yet there they were, clear as day. Arcane etchings dug deep into the Knight Commander's skin, wrapping around his body like inked chains. The real question remained, who was pulling the strings? It suddenly dawned on Cole exactly why the old bear asked him to keep an eye on Artemi instead of just doing it himself. He took several cautious steps back. I better get going. The others are probably waiting for me. A low chuckle escaped from Grank's throat. Something funny? I was right about you the first time we met. You do have sharp eyes. Best of luck, young Colody. Without another word, the old bear turned and disappeared behind the castle gates. Okay, so this was a big fucking one, huh? Okay, so we basically got... I say basically because we don't literally have confirmation that the person that was at the beginning of the game is the king, but yeah, the person at the beginning of the game is probably the king. The king is probably trying to do whatever he was doing to save his wife's life, using the magic, or rather the science, or the whatever the fuck of Agatha to save her life, though Agatha was using it to try to have a daughter. The experiments resulted in the creation of Cole and of Cassius. Somehow they're both involved. I don't know how that fucking comes about. I don't fucking know. I don't know how it's all connected. But yeah, interesting whole fucking thing there. And all the power is corrupt. The church is in on it, and you can't trust anyone in a position of political power. Interesting that. But this is just a work of fiction, isn't it? God. My life is so fucking weird, man. Oh, God. Thank y'all for watching. If there's any of the bits that I missed, for any of the bits that I definitely missed, let me know in the comments down below. Thank y'all very much for watching this episode. If you liked it, click the like button down below. Thank y'all. Jesus. Have a nice day. Bye, everyone.